Man, there are shady people in the music business. This is no surprise to anyone, but
Yeah.
I would kind of classify and put these people in to different groups. And I think as just a general warning that you can take away, my hope, my dream, my goal with this video is to give you some of those, red flags and things to keep in mind. And let's just jump into it. So the first, would be kind of the unscrupulous manager. And what I mean by this is that you gotta pay attention to how someone conducts themselves and how they behave and their work ethic and their, finances and all the things. And so this is why I always say before you sign with a manager, take time to work with them very casually. And if
Right.
a manager's like, "No, you have to sign right away, and I don't have time for this," then like it's not a good fit, period. And I'll give one example, but what are your thoughts as far as, managers in general and what to watch out for?
A lot of it is just kind of attitude and how they conduct their business. The previous track records, a lot of artists will have, their first time managers might be like their parents, somebody's parents or, a friend or somebody that, appears like I can totally do this. And, maybe they've worked alongside you a couple things, help you book some shows, help you come up with decisions, and then they take on the role. But the role of a manager is a very crucial one because they are representing you. They are, the face of you, essentially, when they're doing all kinds of deals and getting things done. So if you have kind of like a jerky manager, remember that, reflects on you. If you have somebody that has kind of maybe doesn't handles things a little too emotionally, or kind of gets in their feelings a lot, that might not be a good fit. If they already seem like an overly kind of controlling person, that might not be a good fit. You need to be able to talk to your manager because that relationship that you have with them is so important because your interests need to be represented. And a lot of times they're you can find managers that are just kind of looking for their self-interest.
Well, and let me, let's play devil's advocate for a second. So sometimes you get someone who is just like a mildly terrible human being,
Yeah.
and maybe they are a really good manager. So what I would say with that, obviously on the personal level, if someone's willing to screw someone else over, that person might be you at some point, but there are people who can get stuff done for you.
It's
And
a
I think that
trade-off.
it is a trade-off. And the only reason I kind of mention that is because, it managers should come in and be able to do something for you, even if it's like, a family member, but they're going to hustle, they're going to make the phone calls and the emails and come up to your band practices and really be a part of it and helping. Like that is so valuable. But if someone has a Rolodex of real contacts and can do real things, let's not discount that. Need contracts for your music business? Go to topmusicattorney.com to get downloadable templates such as NDAs, record label agreements, management agreements, featured artist agreements, and so much more. Go to topmusicattorney.com. One of my own examples, I've fired different managers
Yeah.
and I just ended up like managing myself because I'm like, there's no one who works harder than me on my own
And
music
you.
career.
Right.
That's fair. No one cares about my stuff as much as me. But one of the guys that I fired, he just had made way too many promises, just super, super vague, and like, we can get you all these interviews, we can get you all these shows, and there was no specificity. That's the red flag. If someone's just making general promises, that means that they probably don't really have an
Right.
idea
That
of
and That and just yeah, no, I mean, and just making sure you need to vet them a little bit better. But again, a lot of times these people, your especially your first time managers, are people that you already kind of know. So I don't know. There's the ways, but don't let a manager like a lot of people just think that a manager is going to be the thing that catapults their career and is going to be, and that's what they're there to do. They're there to help you along. But you still need to be able to do everything that the manager can do because you see it's classic. You look at any art, tons of artist stories about how their manager kind of took advantage of them. Well, why did they do that? Because you didn't know about what was going on in your own business. You just put all of your trust into a manager, all of your trust into an accountant. And so, that's why we teach you guys so much that it's so important to know all the aspects of your career. So someone's just kind of making your life easier and giving you your time back and working for you in these areas so you can concentrate on other things. But you still can, checks and balances.
The next shady character in the music business that you just need to watch out for are going to be deceptive promoters. Okay, so
Mm,
look, the pay to play, you gotta, fork up some money and do the thing. Like that's industry standard for a lot of venues and promoters trying to do their thing. That's cool. But what I'm talking about is when someone's like promising exposure and fame. And who was it? Like there are people who go, they'll get like this tiny venue and they'll be like, come to not NAM, what was it? You come to these big music festivals, you can play, you can be a
right,
part
right.
of this. and they just get you some back room at like 11 a.m. and
Right,
they'll
right,
take
right. Well, no, I mean, it's,
$1,000.
what is a great example of this is whenever South by Southwest goes on. It's,
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, South by
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Southwest.
Yeah, just all kind of pay to play, and you kind of play these kind of small venues. And there's people, I mean, there's so much activity there that it's variable whether you think it's worth it or not. It's a fun experience. But I'm just saying, but there's a lot of other venues that are just kind of smaller knowns that are on the outskirts that kind of just take advantage of all this too. I mean, why wouldn't they? But a big one is like battle of the band competitions.
Hmm.
Like, those things are, like, the worst, and if you wanna get in a battle of bands, like, good luck to you, unless it's, like, a high school battle of the bands that you're kinda having fun in, because those things, there's a lot of times you're paying entry fees, you're just harassing all of your fans all the time to, like, vote and go to these venue things, and it's like, it's all just so the promoters can make money because they're earning all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know, the battle of the bands I've always kind of seen as like real shady and scammy. So be careful of those, and just people like some of these companies that just will peer in your email and they'll be like, "Oh, we book, shows, if you want to jump on the show, it's like, $300 or whatever." But it's like you're end up playing, if you're a rap artist, you'll end up playing with like a country band and you're playing at like 7 o'clock and there's like
Right.
four people in this bar, but you paid the promoter $200. So, you know, it- I always say it's the best way if you want to get great shows, especially in your own town. Start going to the venues, start getting to know the actual people that are doing the booking for the shows. That is the best way that's how you're going to get the national shows. That's how you're going to get anything that you want to get, is by getting good in with the club owners and the people that are actually doing the booking. Buy them a beer, hang out, chit chat, talk about, whatever sporting teams in town. You know what I mean? But don't harass them and ask them. But that's how you get those gigs.
Well, if you're Kanye, you harass until you become a superstar. The next group of shady characters, fraudulent producers. All right.
Mm,
So, look, if a producer, and this has happened, right? Someone makes a commitment, they're going to sell you a beat, they get the money, they don't give it to you. Or they give it to you, it's supposed to be exclusive, right? On exclusive
right.
license. They actually give it to a bunch of other people. They say they're going to do your EP. They do one song. They say they're going to mix the whole thing. They do
They
nothing. And then 6 months go by. Like,
You
there's
think
so
that
many.
stems are gonna be included when you're, recording with them, and then they're gonna charge you $500 for them to give you your stems, or just the different
Yeah,
versions
or
of
in
your
my case, and I tell this story in my book, and I'm like, the last time I did a handshake deal was when I was working with this producer, and at the time, I'm like 16, and, I didn't have a lot of opportunities that I just even knew what to do, and I was so new to everything, and this guy had agreed to do, like, an exchange with me, and he's like, "You do some stuff on my tracks, I'm gonna help you with your track." And, so we got the track, like, to the very end, and then he came back. He's like, "Hey, it's gonna be thousands of dollars to finish the mix and master
Right.
it." I'm like, "Dude, like, we never talked about this. You didn't say this was coming. I don't have that money." And like, my whole project fell apart, and my music video got canceled, and my heart was totally broken. I don't know if we'd call that a fraudulent producer because it was a bait and switch, but that was definitely the last time that I will ever and ever did do a handshake deal.
Or
It's a
sometimes
contract.
producers, there's all kinds of scams also where like, who is it? There was that Bow Wow scam where somebody's kind of impersonating features with Bow Wow. But in
Mm,
that kind of like, vein, producers will claim that they've worked on certain things for other artists, to try to raise their prices or something. There's definitely ways where you can check producers' credits, and you should always look into the background of producers, especially if you haven't met them. You're doing something online, and some kind of online collab or something like that. But the easiest way to solve any kind of problem with a producer is what? To have a contract. So to have it all written in the contract, what's going to be included, what they're representing. So there is no bait and switch. So there is no surprises. And this kind of goes for maybe some of you cats locally that still go to like recording studios and stuff. A lot of times, it used to be an old kind of scam that would go on, where you'd look in the newspaper and the classifieds, and these, they'll make you a big star, come send us your demos, and you go to the recording studio that's local, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, this is the best song I've ever heard." And then they'd go, "I could totally record you, but it's going to cost you, $1,500 because we're going to do 48 tracks. We're going to hire people." And then they would hire musicians. Now you got to go over here to get it mastered. Now you got to go to here to get your headshots. And now you got to go over here to get your tapes and stuff pressed. because it was an all inner circle where everyone kind of worked together and it was all kickbacks and everybody just kind of preyed on people's talent as well. So watch out for those because I'm sure those kind of things still exist as well.
A Music Attorney is your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free master classes, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. Up next on our shady characters list, of course, we have the exploitative record labels.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dun dun dun. All right. So, obviously the whole deal with labels is that you are to a degree selling your soul, meaning you are signing away ownership of your music in
Yeah.
exchange for the services and the help that the label is going to give you. The problem that comes into play is that the label will never define what that is. The contracts with the label only says they will get you distribution.
Yeah.
And so all the stuff they actually sell you on like, we can help you with your marketing and we can help get you out there and get you collabs and all this stuff, it never says that in the actual contract. That's not standard anyway. So what ends up happening is that either the label actually takes advantage of you and does nothing, right? And just takes, the music, or they do try and they do a bad job and then they still own the music.
Right.
So, we're very much about like learn to think like a label yourself, try to get an attorney to protect you, review the contracts. But as far as kind of red flags, it's really important that you just do some research on the label. Just because someone says they're a label doesn't mean they know what the hell they're doing. And a label is just a person, which is why I'm always telling people like,
Yeah.
hey, you can be your own label. You are a person. You can learn marketing. You can learn distribution. You can get relationships. I go, so that's my general philosophy. What red flags would you say we need to look out for?
Yeah, just like you were kind of saying, they're basically giving you distribution and stuff like that, which is really cool because back in the day when you didn't have those outlets, you really have access to just about anything that a record label can do. If you're worried about connections and whatever, you can literally email the producer you want to work with and you try to get you an indie rate. You can literally get a hold of the music producer for like your favorite Netflix TV show or whatever and reach out to them for try to get sync licensing. It's all everything record labels, all what they have over you is they've built these relationships over the last 50, 60, 70 years or whatever it is that you hope for, because that's all it is. They're still investing so much money into your career for advertising. A lot of artists just think that they signed to a record label and then it's like just because they're on a record label they're going to start selling millions of or start having millions of streams come out, sell all this merch, go on these big tours. And the reason why you're getting all those streams and stuff is because these record labels, they put you out and they have a name to protect. Whether you're getting the streams or not, they're going to inflate and kind of put some fake plays on those streams, which
No,
if you really wanted to
about that. Let's not even talk about that.
But I'm just saying, like, it's there's nothing that a record label can do for you that you can't do for yourself. The goal should be for you to run yourself like a record label and to get yourself to a point to where if you want to partner with a record label, so maybe you're working on something together, a joint kind of venture, you have way more leverage to get the deal that you want. And whatever level you're at, if you want something in that contract, tell your entertainment attorney to put it in the contract and say, this is what I need to do this. They're reaching out to you, bro.
Joel says, as an artist, it's an uphill battle. And Johnny, with your comment about, you have to learn music marketing. I was speaking with an artist today and I go, we were talking about the plan for the release and talking about the contracts and what they need to do for, music videos and working with producers and all this stuff. And I go, talk to me about what you know about editing videos on your phone. Do you know how to use CapCut? Do you know how to, how many times are you posting? Do you have a schedule? And because that piece was not in a place, I go, 90% of your time for the next however many weeks needs to be in mastering this. You have to learn how to market yourself because there's nothing more important. You can have the best song in the world, the best album in the world, the best music video in the world.
Doesn't matter.
No one is going to hear it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciate that you shared that, Johnny. I
mean, I'm sure a lot of you out there are watching this video right now, or just you can name 10 artists that you don't think have any talent, but they're huge artists right now. And you know why? Because they have good marketing, they have good branding and whatever. So, put down the video game, turn off Netflix and maybe you get in the studio, you get to work, maybe you watch a couple videos on how to do targeted ads, Facebook ads, maybe you spend some time actually working on your business and stop just waiting for it. Like, it's not a lottery ticket, and when the label does all this shit for you, you have to pay that all back. It's a loan. Go get a loan, bro. I don't know.
Adam's asking about my book.
Better
So
interest rate.
it's called How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. And I as far as where to get it, I think it's linked on topmusicattorney.com, but that's the digital download. The only place, is it still on misskrystle.com? Or did we take
um
it down?
I think we took it
For the
down, yeah.
physical.
The
Okay,
physical
so you
copy's
can,
down.
yeah, you can get the digital download still on topmusicattorney.com. All
Or
right,
the
so
audiobooks more places, some
yes,
places.
on Audible as well. The on next on our unscrupulous bad people in the music business list, we have the fraudulent A&R reps. Also something I was talking about today. And I'm just like, look, I don't want to be mean, rude, or unfair, but please stop trying to look for, like someone to come and save the day. So A&R reps, hopefully they are with an actual label, but most of the time, like they're in sales. They're either trying to scam you
They're
with an illegitimate offer or they're trying to scam you with a legitimate offer. And so, there's just all these promises being made. So just understand that just because someone's like, saying they're into you and they're saying all the right things doesn't mean it's true. And even if it is true, it does, and the fact that you even like the person, you're like, "Man, Adam is great, and he's so
yeah,
fun
yeah.
and cool and all stuff." Like, so what? You're not signing with Adam. So just meaning A&R being the person on behalf of a company, like a record label, that is reaching out to you.
And it's okay to be kind of flattered by things, but just remembering just to do your due diligence and kind of research people. Have they, who have they been responsible for working with? What are they doing? And it's great if they're, if they're genuinely a fan of your group and have in your pocket. I think the message is stop getting so eager, and because you don't want your desperation to show like as soon as that happens, like, you should have the feeling that you're probably being scouted all the time. Like, if your music is solid, you're out there working real hard, there's always eyes on you, but just not just sitting there wishing for think that's going to save you, because all this stuff, when you start getting into, the mechanics and the system and the machine of the record, like, now you've opened a whole new world, a whole new list of problems, a whole bunch of new things that could be really exciting. But, like, be careful for what you wish for, and just realizing that there's so many resources now online. Like, there's so many, you could type in YouTube right now and just like any of your artists and giving interviews about their experiences on record labels and warning you of the dangers of it. It's like, you know, and it's not that they're all evil, it's just a business. When you go and think about you're partnering with the business because you're trying to earn revenue, like, start doing those things for yourself now.
If you're a hustler like me, working on your career every day, go to topmusicattorney.com to apply to work directly with me. Let's get your music business to 6 figures and beyond. All right, so then what are the solutions? Or I'm gonna give you mine. So conduct research for all the
Mm,
people, especially if you can like reach out to other bands or groups that are working with those people, managers, agents. Like, I love the Pitbull story because I'm friends with his attorney, and he actually did an interview on this podcast, Leslie Ziegel. But anyway, so he was talking about like even the courtship that he had to go through with Pitt to get hired as the attorney. He's like, it was just so many like meetings and like building goodwill and trust and all this stuff. Every relationship that you have with anyone where you're going to sign a contract or be tied to them in some kind of way, you need to do your due diligence. Who are
yes.
they? Like, know, their business style, know who have they worked with. Do they even know what the hell they're doing? Are they like, oh my gosh, I represented this person like a million years ago and they're not really doing anything currently? All this stuff comes into play. But then when you do move forward, have a contract and
Yeah.
make sure you know what it says and make sure you have an attorney review it, because I'm telling you guys, when you don't do that, you end up paying like 10 times more later on because you signed something that you didn't know what it meant. You're trying to get out of it. Like a third of what I do is just reading contracts and trying to get people out of their contracts. And so you could have saved all that time, all that money, all that stress. And sometimes you can't get out of the contract. I usually do. I'm just saying. But
No, but just remember that it's a trade-off, and regardless if you are hell bent on that or not, on signing and just going through the system, I definitely recommend that you have an entertainment attorney with you so you can express your concerns. Because if you it's intimidating when you're sitting, even with an A&R rep and they're dangling, just like, oh my god, I'm interesting, can I get your CD? I'd like to take it back to my, whatever. What is there something you could
Sure.
tell me? Can I set
Right.
something up? Or if you're one of these bands and you're like doing your, your first showcase, it's pretty exciting. Hell, your second showcase is pretty exciting. And you get about 8 in and you're, you know what I mean? Like, labels will come see you, especially if you start getting buzz on you. But either way, if you build up your brand, if you don't have anything going on, you're not going to get a great deal. And there's not amount of negotiating that you're going to be able to do, or what kind of attorney, you have, if you are not regularly posting on social media and showing that you have a work ethic, that you are not out there, just them showing that you can produce results. You're not going to get any kind of deal. If you have a song, they might, sign your song. But
That's right, people. So these are the 5 shady characters in the music industry that you're going to avoid. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.